I even look better today. Maybe it's because I'm in the sunlight. Okay, let's see if this populates. Give it a minute. I just finished the second edition of the Dr. Phil Summer Wells thing. I just wanted to come on here and see if anybody else had just watched it and wanted to chit chat about it. There's a possibility that maybe later today I may be talking with Sharon about it. It just depends on how my energy goes through the remainder of the day. We'll see how that goes. Feeling better today. Don't want to jinx myself, but I'm feeling better today. Okay, I have somebody with me, as always. Talk to me, or I don't know you're there. So, talk to me. We're going to start talking about this Dr. Phil thing. Let me know who's in the house. Let me know what you saw when you watched it, or if you've seen it yet, or what kind of vibes you got from it, because I just finished it. Hey, how you doing, Priscilla? So I just finished that. I laid down and thought I was actually going to take a nap. Found it and watched it. And I was not super impressed with the first half of it, but the last half of it, I was actually more impressed when Dr. Phil started really digging. Because he started asking some of the questions that I've been wondering. Why is Candace breaking down at the mention of the Cornbread Mafia? Now, in all seriousness, yes, these little groups are serious. Hi, Lottie Daw, love your name. In all fairness, these little groups are serious in this neck of the woods. They are prominent little fixations of young men that apparently have way too much time on their hands. They're not really prominent for doing anything other than just like small time crime, drug related small time crime stuff. And then 9 times out of 10, if they get caught, you know, they get tight-lipped, so you can't coordinate, you can't figure out who was with who. You have to wait to catch them when they're spending a lot of time in an actual prison before you'll see the bond, and you can say yes, they're part of this security threat group, or no, they are not. So it's always hard to tell who belongs and who doesn't, and who's just using it for clout and who's not. And 2 of the more prominent ones we have in the area are the Cornbread Mafia, which, sorry, can we pick better names? Like, can I get a call the next time we come up with the name? The Wacky Tobackies. Because the other ones were the Dirty White Boys, and I'm like, it just sounds like you can't wash your hands. Just, Germex. So, I understand that they have to think of everything, but I was glad when Dr. Phil zeroed in on Candace, because if you watch, there's a couple of things that I picked up on, and this is not going to be super, do they know each other? I have no idea. This is going to be kind of super short for me, most likely, because there are just some things I wanted to make a point of. As I've said from day one, whether they injured, harmed, in any other way caused this little girl to disappear in any way, I don't know. But what I have always felt is that they have more information and knowledge than what they are stating. And that, for me, that makes them just as guilty. Hello. Thank you for the heart. So it makes them just as guilty if they're withholding evidence. Hi, Denise. So that's my concern, is they're withholding evidence. They're not stating something for fear of paybacks or what it may cost them. And I've also stated several times that when you are in that criminogenic underbelly of society and you have children, your children are your biggest liability. I've said that a number of times. And I point that out because after supervising families that have children, the threats that come in to people that have children that are on paper or in prison, it's always threats against their kids. That's always where the criminal mind goes first. You know, do you want to see your kids again? And so my fear is that somebody has been owed something, somebody has defaulted on something, somebody has mouthed something, told on somebody, snitched, done something, and the price of that may have been the child. That's one theory that I have thought. My sun is setting, and I've got to a big doe in the barn lot. She just ran off when I did that. So children are your biggest liability when you live in a criminogenic society. So that's been my biggest concern. And my other concern is that they know more that they're not saying for fear of incriminating themselves or just looking ply blank stupid. What if Candace was deeply threatened and she can't tell? Somebody could tell me they were going to chop me into 1,000,000 pieces and put me through a wood chipper and then sprinkle me in 5,000,000 different places. I would still tell whatever I needed to tell to get my child to safety. So to see her, she was very rigid. If you watch the body language, at one point when Dr. Phil looked at Dawn and said, I believe that you did not harm your child, Dawn almost did the lick submissive, almost like a horse would or a dog would. And I was like, oh my God, that was just, it was so prominent. And he immediately dropped and became the submissive one because Dr. Phil believed him. And I thought, okay, he's been waiting for that. He's been waiting for somebody to believe him. So I looked for Candace because I thought, okay, Candace, somebody believes you. Candace never changed. She was a doll. She was an immobile doll for the entire thing. And her questions, or her answers to the questions, were, I am not aware. I can't name anyone to this date. I can't think of anyone. It was so contrived and so safe for her. Should anything come up later, well, she said that she couldn't recall at that time. Maybe she just couldn't recall it at that time. For a mother to withhold any aid and any emotion to somebody that is trying to help find their child, red flag. I mean, just huge red flag. I mean, I would have more emotion for a missing dog than she has for her missing child. And I'm not trying to rag them. My heart bleeds for these people. I can't imagine what they're going through. I can't imagine what the family's going through, what the other children are having to go through, and what their entire life now is going to be like as they go through life. But at the same time, you have to sit here and question motives and go, why are you not being forthcoming? Because you can absolutely tell she put on multiple layers for this interview. She hid herself. She buried her arms. She tucked her chin in and acted as though she needed to protect her vital areas. She was defensive for the entire interview. And this was somebody that blatantly came out saying, I'm trying to help you. And she acted as though he was just waiting to pounce. Now, I've been watching Candace, and I've been waiting, has somebody pounced on her? Has somebody pounced on her? Normally, when somebody's loud to Candace, Candace is just as loud to them. So I can't say I've seen any one-sided negative behavior. So I can't say, like, she's battered and abused. She probably is, but in my mind, she probably gives as good as she gets. Now, does that justify either? No, not at all. But I think she has a very, I don't, how can I say this? I don't think she, in her mind, profiles very much as a homemaker and a mother. I think she very much, in her mind, profiles as a kingpin facilitator. And I think she just got showed that she was not either of those things, and it cost her her child. And that's sad. But I mean, we may never know what happened. We may never know what happened. All I can say is that Candace was very hesitant to help. She was very reluctant to give any information, to give any body language, to give any emotion. The only time she broke up was when he started talking about the cornbread mafia. Just putting this out there, if anybody watches this new part of the cornbread mafia, if you want to do an anonymous conversation with me, hit me up down below, or email me, mods. Put my email in here. If you want, I will not name you, tell you out you to nobody. Believe me, I've handled tons and tons and tons and tons of people in security threat groups. But if you would like to explain the type of establishment and how large the establishment is, because it was about this big when I was an officer several years ago. So if you would like to give us any more information, drop me an email. And we'll do a complete anonymous chit-chat. because I want to know what kind of control they think they have in the Eastern Tennessee region. Just curious. Just curious. You don't have to give me a name. You can do a fictitious email. You can change your voice. I'll change your voice if you want me to. Or I can just take notes and you can tell me what you want to tell me. And I will feed it to everybody else. But all I know is when I heard about it back in the day, it was the up-and-coming little minuscule group of people that, you know, just like 3 people said, well, I guess, you know, because 3 or more people are considered a gang. 3 or more. So if you and 2 other friends get together and create a name and then go rob a store, you're now a gang. So now you know. But I would certainly like to have a conversation with somebody that could give us a little bit more information in what's the motive of those individuals. What is, you know, because they're kind of like businesses. They have a mission statement and, you know, goals, and I just want to kind of know what's going on there. Yeah, Deb says, I think she knows who took Summer and that they will hurt Summer if she tells, especially on TV. And that may be some of it. I would rather roll the dice and say that I would have enough people searching and in place to grab my child to potentially save her as to shut my mouth and force her into a complete life of God knows what. And that's a decision that every parent would probably have to make differently and on their own and based on their own, you know, on their own emotions. Do you think if the neighbors knew she was responsible, they would disappear her? I don't think the neighbors in that area have the ability to disappear her. I think there are people that run that area, but the people that live there are not prominent figures to disappear anyone. They sure can get on the internet and start a shitstorm though, can't they? I don't think they have the clout to do anything beyond stir a stink. Yeah, it's just for me personally, it's odd to watch a mother do the entire Clint Eastwood, John Wayne stare at somebody that's trying to help and believes their story and is trying to help. Why does she do that to everyone? There's a reason she does that to everyone. Could it be that she is the center of everything, so either way it goes, she's in trouble, so she's saving her own ass? Or is it that she's the one that's being threatened should anything get out? Who knows? I still think my first idea, you know, they know more than they're telling. That makes them just as guilty in my mind. But kids, when you live in a criminogenic lifestyle, your kids are your biggest liability. And never underestimate someone with a criminal mindset of what they will do to get back to you if you have children. Do you believe the rumors that TBI, FBI are watching all of this on YouTube? No. I mean, they're probably having to search through credible stuff that somebody might say, well, you know, they said this, and it might link up with something that's being investigated, so they go check it out. But are they go filtering through all this? Hell no. If they are, hi guys, miss me yet? Don't you miss having good officers that actually cared? Hi, I miss y'all. Yeah, they won't say that though, because they're not watching all this crap. No, they're not watching. If they're watching anything, they're watching only the stuff that comes up as highly credible or is linked to a highly credible something else, a person, place, or thing. They're not watching all of us. And probably, and honestly, keeping it alive and the people keeping it going are probably offering them more information and more leads. And I know every time that Hawkins County opens their mouth, they're like, you're causing us so much shit. But you know something? You signed up for the job. So put your waders on. Get through the shit. You know, I'm not going to feel sorry for somebody who has to do their job. That's your job. Do your job. Nobody's trying to make it worse. In the old days, we would just go to the general stores, the parks, and, you know, the old restaurants and sit and talk about it. Now we just do it online. So they're not handling anything that they don't handle. It's just in a different dynamic. I was thinking that the Cornbread Mafia was more about when Dawn and Candace, with the prank phone call to Mary, she mentioned the Mexican Mafia. You know, there's so many mafias. There's so many gangs that travel up through the Gulf, up through Tennessee, to get up north. It is a highway. That is why Knoxville is such a hub of activity for everything. Excuse me, I hiccuped. But I think some of the stuff that they're dealing with is also they're hyper exaggerating their importance in their own mind. So I hear coyotes in the daytime. That was weird. Okay, sorry. Yeah, they don't have time to watch YouTube. If they had time to watch YouTube, there would not be so many low-level offenders getting away with so many stupid things. You know, so I was an officer, and you're supposed to have 60 to 90 people max. I ended up normally with around 200 at one time because of a retirement that they had not planned for. I had over 500 people that I was responsible for. Do you think that I could have stopped anybody from doing anything? Heck no. I was just ear tagging cattle at that point. And I had to, for 3 months, call and say, I'm going to have a massive breakdown and bill you for it and cause you to send me to therapy if you do not get me help. Because I cared about my caseload. They just needed as much work from as few people as possible to save money. I was very unhappy with the entire financial aspect of the penal system and the justice system in Tennessee. I was not happy with it all. You know, and I met good people that did great work and did awesome things and helped many people, but they were so rare. They were so rare. And that's why, like, people that I helped over my decade within this, when they see me out, they still hug me and they still thank me. Because I was, like, out of their crime spree that may have lasted, you know, 15, 25 years, however long, I was, like, the one person that took time to sit with them and try to make sense of it and get to the root of it and try to educate them as to why they're doing this and how to stop it and get them on a better path. And so I can't go to Walmart without getting hugged. I mean, I can't go to town without getting honked at and waved at. You know, I get 4 to 6 Facebook messages a week just checking on me and telling me that they're still doing great and they're still sober and they're doing great. And it makes me proud. It makes me proud of each and every one of them. I've got a couple that I'm going to do streams with and bring on, and they've agreed to introduce themselves to you all and tell their story. And we're just trying to get that lined up when I'm feeling better. Because, you know, the biggest thing that I learned when I was an officer was that people change. Every day, people change. And they can do some horrible, horrible things, but they can change and become much better people. Country Christian, she says, I have a question. How come nobody wants to run against Ronnie Lawson? Does he have a lot of money? He's probably just got that much control and that much support in such a small area that everyone knows to run against him would be just a waste of money. So it would probably take somebody with money coming in, or Ronnie doing something so horrible that the community would just completely retract their support of him. And when you get into good old boy areas where sheriffs are trusted so fully, you run into that a lot. Like our last sheriff was trusted, and I didn't trust him. I didn't trust him. I didn't work for him. Had nothing to do with him. I did not trust him. But the few times that I had to deal with him in an officer court setting, I did not like the way that he handled things. I did not like his demeanor. And then come to find out he got charges because he was taking women out of the jail at night to have relations. And he got charged, and now he's in custody. So you know, you have a lot of power grabs in small areas, and it really takes sheriffs that are trusted and been that are well entrenched and have been there for years. It really takes something big to blow them out of the water to get new blood in. Here in London, we have a full cybercrime police department. Do you know that in the U.S. we are still trying to determine cyber law? It's still open. It's still a big question mark foobar session. It really, really is. We're just now starting to begin putting laws down for cyber crimes and behaviors. Country Christian is saying go subscribe. Now this is Priscilla. Priscilla is somebody that lives in Virginia and has a great view of Appalachia. I like your driving vlogs because they soothe me. It feels like I'm driving and talking with a friend. But go and subscribe to Country Christian, and also go and subscribe to Down Under Crime Talks with Sharon, because I may be on Sharon's channel later. I don't know. It depends on how I feel. It depends on how Sharon feels and how I feel. Dusty says, I was doing an art residency teaching art with elementary children. See a child create image. Really? So if we had a child in school draw something that either looked like gang related or homicidal violence, or it wasn't like a hunting scene or anything like that, if it was pretty detailed graphic, then that would have been straight to the counselor's office, mandatory report to DCS, somebody in the home to meet the parents, talk about what's going on, and see if that child needed help. Art is a great way for children to express themselves, and it's also a great way, if your kids don't have the big box of Crayolas and art paper at all times, buy it for them now, please, because it is the best way to see what is in their minds, because if they can't verbalize the words, they will most certainly put it on paper with crayon. Always give your children an art outlet, because they will tell you a lot of what's going on inside. Nope, law here in the U.S. cannot keep up with technology. It's a shame. And people take advantage of it every day. Oh, you took the picture of the principal and got a therapist to the school. That's great. That's great. We're so rural that we have counselors in schools, but the counselor would have to pull the parent in, notify DCS, have basically a treatment plan meeting, and make sure that the information was disseminated and that the child was put into a plan of action, whether that meant counseling or outpatient or a hold for other testing, but it would be, they would make sure it went forward for the betterment of the child, to make sure whatever was being expressed was not super harmful. Some kids just are very artistic and can be very macabre, but you can almost always tell the difference in an artistic expression and then a child trying to show you trauma. Just from what the art therapy that I've done, it's hard to explain, but it's a very distinct difference between like drawing. I watched John Wick, and this is my drawing of John Wick, then as to they watched their parents be murdered, and this is what they saw through the closet door crack. It's two very different POVs. It's startling. Art therapy is great. Music therapy is great. Both of those things create room in the brain for trauma and pain to be processed. So those things are great things. I used to do, when kids with trauma would come in and they were younger, we would write their name, fold the paper and write their name and trace it on the other side, and they would make the monster out of their name. So they got to build their own monster. and they would tell you what was bothering them, because that would be the, you know, the attributes of the monster. And then you would get to have them create ways that they could fight the monster. So it was to be smarter and read more books, and it was to create monster spray with mom and dad, and it was to say a magic prayer to whatever, you know, was their special thing for protection at night. And just little tiny, what other people would call silly things, can help kids kind of build a safety barrier to where they can start to handle bigger things and really process the meat of stuff. But a lot of parents don't want to go through the silliness. They just want to handle the meat. Well, you got to go through the silliness to get to the meat. Oh, equine therapy. Oh my gosh. See, that's what I initially wanted to do, because I grew up with horses, and I had my entire life across the road from me had a Down syndrome neighbor that I was best friends with. We would go watch Fraggle Rock together, and she would come over and she would ride my pony. The only time that girl would talk was when she was riding my pony. And so I would, I don't care if it was summer and the sun was going down, if she wanted to ride my pony, I would saddle my pony up and I would lead her around on my pony, because she would talk. And her mother would just cry. And I would lead that pony for, I don't care how many laps, just as long as she would talk and her mom would cry, I was leading that pony. And I had that pony for 38 years. 38 years. And I still talk to the mother today. And the daughter regressed more and more. The older she got, she regressed. It was sad to see. And a lot of it was due to not having the agencies and aid and help here in this rural area. But she's been taken really good care of. And the mother still reaches out and talks to me. So we still have a bond. I don't have a pony to put her on anymore, but it's because my health. When my health went, I had to sell all my horses. Oh, my hair, I hacked it. I hacked my hair the other day because it was getting in my nose and in my eyes and them, and so and my husband gets mad because I never go to the salon. I normally do my own hair. If I come on here with really awesome hair, it's because I went to see my friend Manda, because Manda's amazing. But I haven't been to a salon in so long, so I just do my own hair. Although I have to say I'm rather gifted at it. I used to have to do my daughter's hair, and she's got like waist-length blonde hair, so we would used to have to color correct because it was mousy, and I would have to color correct to make it blonde and pretty. Oh no, my husband's like, as soon as you feel like it, he's like, I'm taking, because I can't drive yet because of the vertigo. I still can't drive. I feel like a 5-year-old. I can't do anything right now. So my husband's like, as soon as I have a day off from work and the salon's open in town, I'm taking you, dropping you off, and you're getting a mani-pedi, and I'll pick you up in an hour and a half. And he's like, you just go. And I was like, okay. I'm down for that. Because I keep my hands fairly, nice. I mean, I'm a fat girl. Those toes are far, they're might as well be Iceland down there. So, need all the help I can get. And he wants me to go and have a spa day, a pamper day. So I'm going to try to do that as soon as I feel better. On the up and up, potentially getting Kazi back tomorrow or Sunday. I'm not sure which, so I'll let y'all know. At least you're a smart 5-year-old. No, I question that daily. I'm sure he does too. My hair is actually really close to this color, so this was kind of going back to my natural. It was really vibrant the first couple weeks till it kind of washed out, but this is actually really close to my actual color. I was a solid redhead before I had my son Lane, and then he like sucked all my red hair out of me, and then it went auburn, and he's my little ginger baby. And I tell him that he stole my hair all the time. You stole my hair. And he's like, okay, Mom, fine. And my daughter's a strawberry blonde. But that is because we have the heavy Irish on my dad's side. And then my brother takes after my mother on the Cherokee side and has the black hair and the olive skin. And I'm just like, I want to be tan just once in my life. But it's never going to happen. It's never gonna happen. Yeah, this is as close to natural as I've been in probably 10 years. So, yeah, I had my little boy, and as soon as I had my little boy, I lost my red hair, and I was like, what the crap? That was the only thing I had going for me. So, okay, so now I'm going to show some stuff that I'm going to be loading onto the Etsy store later. I'm just going to show a couple of items. I don't have the bigger items handy with me because I didn't pack them up here. So if you're squeamish, you might want to check out now. Oh, if I did not have such a funny shaped head, I would shave my head. I've had a death hawk before, you know, and people look at me and they give me wide berth anyway because I'm such a burly woman. I would totally do it, but I have such a funky shaped head that I just can't bring myself to shave my head. But you are snarky today. But yeah, he was 34 hours of labor. So you know something? I remind him of that every time he's a little turd. 34 hours of labor. I have only ever bleached my hair once, and that was to put in like the purpley stuff. And I had a very heavy color on, a very dark color on my hair, and I did that non-bleach wash with the Dawn and stuff, and it took it all out. I didn't believe it would. It took it all out. And then I put the, it was like something other sunset, and I could have landed a 747 for about 4 days, and then it calmed down and looked like my actual hair, so I'm fine with it now. Etsy store is Hillbilly Heart Decor. I'm going to add links and stuff. I'm fixing to start loading stuff tonight, taking photos because I'm feeling a little bit better. We're going to load smaller items first, and then the other stuff that we have to ship, we're going to wait until I feel better and I can drive so that I can go, and because we have 2 places to meet FedEx here because I live in Biffy. Y'all are just crazy this evening. So, if you get squeamish, leave now. I'm going to be wood burning some spoons soon. Some little bitty ones and some big ones. And I can personalize them as well. I'm going to be making some little gnomes for Christmas. I'm going to be doing I get crafty when it gets cold outside. It's just who I am. My mother, it was just genetically gifted to me because it's what my mother does, so it's what I do. I don't know why, but it just happens. I start quilting and crafting, and I won't have any fingerprints by the end of winter because I will have hot glued all of them off. I could commit a crime. There's a thought. But what my husband is doing right now is starting to sell the smaller stuff, and then when I get feeling better and I can drive to meet the FedEx and ship everything, then I will start doing the larger stuff. I showed the Cody crown, which is the neck up to the head that I've got back felted in purple. It is going to be up for sale. I have a bobcat wreath. I have a snowshoe dream catcher with a Cody jaw and a Cody skull on it. And I'll be putting pictures of those up too. But I wanted to show you these little things. And Etsy takes a flat rate, so it's not that bad. I don't like eBay. Since it's all homemade stuff, I just kind of prefer Etsy. It has more of a boho vibe. That was weird. Anyway, but we just kind of prefer Etsy. And they kind of embrace our stuff a little bit more than eBay does. What's a Cody? Did I say Cody? Cody. Coyote. No, I'm not from Appalachia. You guys, no, you heard me right. I'm just a bumpkin, and that was my way of saying coyote. Cody. Normally I call him Yotes. Cody, coyote. It just tickled me because that's exactly what I said. I will say stuff and I will run them all into one word, and you sometimes will have to go, Elizabeth, what'd you say? And I'll have to say it again. I tickle myself. Don't ever feel bad about pointing it out. I think it's hilarious. I've been taped. I've had linguists come in and record my voice because I've got the dying Appalachian dialect. So never think that you're going to make me mad by going, what in the crap did you say? Because sometimes you need to ask me. So, okay, so if you're squeamish, leave now. You've been warned. Some of the things that people like that my husband makes the most are his rather obnoxious keychains. I love his rather obnoxious keychains because when you're packing one of these, ain't nobody going to bother you. Our best seller are the Coyote jaws. All the teeth are glued in with like E6000, like the jewelry grade glue. They're not going anywhere. You ain't losing these puppies unless you absolutely force them out. You have the keychain. It's been drilled through the actual jawbone. So, as you can see, they're bleached, they're cleaned, they're bold, and they're ready to go wherever you want to go. And this is a Coyote. Although it's a really small one. This is a dink. I named him Dinky. He was a dink. People were like, that's a bobcat. That's not a bobcat. This is a bobcat. This is a bobcat. This is just my bobcat jawbone that I have that I haven't done anything with yet. This is a bobcat. So this is a little tiny Coyote. And then what a lot of people have never seen before is a beaver jaw. Let me turn around. I'm going to show you the teeth. Here are their molars where they grind their food. This is their cutting teeth where they cut the tree with. And did you know that that sucker runs? I could loosen it, but it's glued in there now. It runs all the way back up in here. Sometimes we'll pull them out and drill them through and just make a beaver tooth keychain. So that is a beaver jaw. And then he likes to take the tips off of antlers and just make antler keychains. And I'm not going to lie, when I have these with me and I go to the grocery store, I'm normally walking to my car with them like this. I'm not going to lie. I'm prepared. I like this one though. It's got the base of the antler with it. So he makes a lot of little things like that. We try not to waste anything. You know, we trap these animals, we hunt these animals, they feed us, they pay for a lot of stuff that we need for the winter. Yeah, that's why you don't mess with a beaver. Yeah, they've got their teeth are ever growing like a rat or a hamster. And you can pull them. I've got some that I've wiggled and pulled out just to make art with the teeth. And I'll show you when I get everything. I'm getting my craft room cleaned up, so I'll be able to show you much more. I've got lots of skulls. I've got lots of... I am the queen of dead things. That sounded really bad. But we do a lot of fur art. Trapping season is officially starting. He's actually went out and done two rounds on 2 farms that are being flooded by beaver. And so he's fixing to start trapping the weekend of Thanksgiving. Our almost new son-in-law, which he's our impending new son-in-law. He will be our new son-in-law soon. He's going to come up and we're going to use his nice brawny young muscles and back to help put out the first big round of beaver traps. We make our own caster for the traps because you have to put caster down to lure them in. We make our own bait. He will steal my pantyhose to dry the caster in, and I don't know if you know, but fat girl pantyhose cost a lot of money, and so we have a lot of domestics based on you stole my big fat girl $15 pantyhose to dry beaver caster. Don't do that again. That's a domestic here in my house. So, I am married to Grizzly Adams. He doesn't talk a lot. I keep telling him to come on and to share a lot of what he does. He's a man of few words. And he's the teddy bear. I'm the mean one. But boy, I'd hate to see him mad because he's a big old burly man. But he works a full-time job. And he used to log in the morning, come home, eat lunch, and then go do his factory job. And then he would trap all weekend long. And I finally got him out of the logwoods because his shoulders and elbows were getting so bad. Finally got him to sell his log truck, because if he doesn't have a log truck, he won't log. Gotta think. And now we've got him in just a little Tinker Toy four-wheel drive, and yeah, he's Daniel Boone. And so he can do his trapping. It's not as excessively harmful on his body. He enjoys it more. We're hoping to maybe go down to my mom and dad's farm and get a hog this year. The rules with hogs, though, you have to trap hogs in the trap and you have to dispatch them in the trap. And so the moment you get a hog trapped, if you don't know how to butcher it, or you don't have a butcher on speed dial, you're screwed. So we have about 4 to 5 families that rotate through the line of who wants it to butcher it. And so we will start putting the trap out in the winter, because the big boar will come up and try to eat the baby calves. And so we will trap the hogs, and you have to dispatch them in the trap. And then you have to drag them into your freaking truck, where a winch comes in really handy. And we have to butcher them ourselves, because butchers are about 7 months behind around here. It's amazing. So we just all butcher our own meat, which most people around here do know how to butcher their own meat. It's not a big deal. But if I can share some of that YouTube will not cast me to YouTube hell for, I will try to share what I can. I live a very weird life. I have a contact sport with Mother Nature going on here, and even though I am disabled and I can't do what I used to do, my family still very much runs like a Appalachia farm wood trapping, hunting family. So most of the people here think I'm cityfied, and then I talk to you people and y'all think I'm bumpkin, and I never belong. But I'm fine with that. I can kind of go back and forth between 2 different levels of society, so it doesn't bother me that much. So, did you ever learn how to sling gut a rabbit? Amanda. Is it Amanda? Annette. Did you ever learn how to sling gut a rabbit? I mean, it's really a time saver. Okay, FYI, if you're squeamish, don't listen to me for 5 seconds. It's really a time saver, because rabbits are not that difficult to skin, but their fur gets stuck on everything. So if you start pulling, you're going to get hair stuck everywhere. And so if you can limit the process to where you can sling gut it to where you've not had to handle more of it than you need to, and then it's been slung gut, so there's not an open cavity, so then you can just tube skin it. There's a whole lot less hair everywhere. So me being 8 or 9, my dad's like, I'm gonna teach you how to sling gut a rabbit. So the first thing you do is you kind of wring it like a wet washcloth to kind of get everything loose. That sounds really bad, I know. And you have to, you really have to get a good whip over your shoulder to go and get the momentum. And they'll come right out. I was amazed. But the one that I got given to try the very first time, me and 8 or 9 years old, I might have been in 4th grade, 3rd or 4th grade. I did it. I was successful. But it was full of worms. I couldn't eat rabbit for the whole rest of the winter. Could not. And I have never, ever, ever again tried to sling gut a rabbit. That's okay. I will just have to wash the extra hair off. I will take the extra time. I will open up the cavity. I will take the extra time, because that scarred me for life. So I learned how to sling gut rabbits, and learned why I never wanted to do it again in about a 7-minute span. So, yeah, there are country things that even I go, oh, nope, check out right there. Oh, Lord. It was nasty. Oh, yeah, I've butchered everything. If you can hang it up, I can take it apart. And that's just the way I was raised. If I ever said ooh, or my dad would look at me and be like, okay, well, now you get to do 3 more. So I just shut my mouth. I did whatever I was told. And I'm glad I was raised that way. I've not met many people like me. I'm glad I was raised that way, because I'll turn my hand to anything. But I'm also very glad I was raised that way, because I understood the circle of life and why farmers care so greatly and deeply for their animals, and why most farmers try to give their animals the best experience while they have them, even though they're meant to be food. They will take the best care of them. And it's kind of like it's a stewardship. You know, you're just, you know, God gave you these little lives that are going to nourish you, but he also gave them to you as a test to see if you had the heart to take care of them in the way that he would want you to take care of them before you use them. And you're linked to everything. You're linked to everything. And I can still remember cattle that we slaughtered when I was a little girl, you know, that I raised, and that I slaughtered. And I would remember sitting at the table in the wintertime. We wouldn't have a whole lot to eat, but we would have a little bit of meat and a little bit of potatoes, and I would be so thankful. And I would think back to that cow that I had raised his whole life, and I would be so thankful. And I understood then why I had to take care of them and give them that good life, because they gave me nourishment and kept me alive. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't respect the animal that they harvest anymore. They don't. Like my family, we will take the heart out. We will take the heart out. Depending on how healthy the animal is, somebody may take a nibble of it. But that heart and the guts, you know, we'll say a little bit of a thank you over it. And we will lay everything aside for the scavengers that is not going to be taken and eaten. And so the heart and the liver and others, we take that normally with us to be eaten if it's in good shape. And we leave everything else for the scavenger. But we take a moment to take that heart out and recognize the life of that animal and thank it. So it's a very people think it's a cold and callous thing, but it's one of the most spiritual, and I don't know, one of the most. I just felt like I was grounded when I would do those things. Felt like I was grounded. Hey Danny, are you feeling better? I heard you. Were you sick the other day? Was it you or Daniel Armstrong? Yeah, all my horses I've always had good bonds with. I've always been a huge animal person, but I also respect, you know, the cycle of life and all that. So, yeah, I just, you know, most people just do not truly understand what a hunting family, a country family, a woods existing family is, and how they're made, and what they're built like. Yeah, I am Cherokee and Lenape, so I have a lot. You was just pissed off. What was you pissed off about? Do you need to email me? Are you okay? Something happened? Was it me? What'd they do? Stereotypes, yeah. Tribalism, ideologies, all those things, you know. Communities are great. Tribes are horrible. Communities are all different kinds of people that rely on each other. Tribes and ideologies are mirror images, and that never works. Oh, the government. Lord Danny, if I start talking about the government, oh Lord have mercy. I mean, it don't get much worse than our president farting across the waters. Yeah, I had to learn it with my mother. My mother would take us to the community meetings and the powwows, and I always got upset because I had to sit with the little women doing the crafts while the boys got to go and build the drum. It made me mad, but I learned a lot with the little women I sat with. And I was always the palest, red-headed little Irish girl, but they took me in, and I was one generation away from being able to be given a name. My mother was the last one because of the blood lineage. It's changed now, and I think I could probably go back and register. But the chief gave me a name anyway. He's like, I can give you a name, I just can't register you. And he was like, I want to give you a name. And I don't know if y'all have seen, but I've got huge freckles on my shoulders. I always had huge freckles. And so the chief, when I was 12, 11 or 12, named me Spotted Pony. And so that was my name when I would go to these powwows, with Spotted Pony. I'm Scots, Irish, and Cherokee. I have a tiny bit of German from the Irish, but not a lot. But I tell everybody with the trifecta there, if you get me mad, you're screwed. Yep. That's good that he hunts and lives off that. That's good meat. You know, they put a lot of antibiotics and a lot of fake stuff in the food we eat from the grocery store. So if you can eat out of the woods and out of your garden, you're much better off. Yep. When we're raised in the hills of Kentucky. Yeah, it's just life, isn't it? It's just life. Oh, there you go. You're German, Scottish, and Mexican. That's interesting. I've never seen that combination before. That's very interesting. So, but yeah, I really embrace, my great-grandmother was she would still speak the language, and I did not learn a lot of the language. And when she would get mad, it would come out much more quickly. And so when she would get mad, she would start, and I'd be like, ooh, she scared the crap out of me when she would go into Cherokee mode. And I would be like, do not piss great-grandmother off. And she looked exactly like anyone that you would see, you know, on a set of like Dances with Wolves or Geronimo or something. She looked just like them. And I do have the high cheekbones. My daughter has the high cheekbones. You know, Granny, Mom, we all have the high cheekbones. But unfortunately, I otherwise look like my Irish father. And my brother looks like my native mother. And it is not fair. My mother's beautiful. My dad is ruddy and stays red in the sun. And I'm just like him. See, I need to do better. I learned the songs and stuff and the dances for the ceremony, but I did not learn the languages very well at all. And that's where I failed, and I need to do more and do better. I do a lot of the herbal stuff and a lot of the gemstone stuff and the jewelry, the jewelry and the intention with the jewelry and the weaving of the dream catchers and the intentions with that, stuff like that. But I need to do much better with the language because it is so difficult. And it's dying. It's basically already dead, but it's dying. We do have it now. They are doing some tutorials and doing some filming and you know, but really to speak it and actively speak it daily is the only way to learn it. And so that basically, that ability is almost gone. You can go to the Econolofty village in Cherokee, North Carolina, and still hear it spoken. But it's broken there. It's very broken. It's not fluid. So, well, there you go. You probably celebrate yours way more than I do. My mother, I'm very thankful that my mother embraced who she was, and made sure that we knew who we were. So, because not all at that time, not all parents would go to that trouble. So, and I've told my children, and you know, people will come up and you know, Lane will be selling chainsaw art or furs or something that looks very native, and they're like, "Are you native?" And Lane's like, well, yeah, I'm Cherokee, but it's, you know, long line Cherokee and the other side's Irish. And they're like, you've got red hair, you're not native. And Lane's like, no, I'm Cherokee, but the Irish is just way stronger. And so he gets a lot of crap because he's a redhead. But it's because, like the Irish side, my dad's Irish side, they're all strawberry blondes. All of them are blonde or strawberry blonde or red. And it's just, you know, and that Irish, you know how that Irish genetic line is just on steroids. It's, you know, it's going to show before anything else. And, but you can look at some of my features, like people can look at my features as I get older and they can see the high cheekbones, and I have that slant, especially when I do my makeup and I do my eyes up. You see the slant in my eyes that are Cherokee. So you can, if you go through my videos and look where I have on a lot of makeup, you can see that I have a lot of prominent Cherokee facial features. But other than that, I look like I'm one potato famine away from death, because my dad is just Irish as Irish can be. I made a hoe cake the other day, and we call them hoe cakes because you can make them on a hoe in the fire, and even when I make them in the pan, I still call them hoe cakes. I have made them on a hoe in the fire outside before. I have no shame. I will make whatever. But my son came over one day and he's like, Mom, will you make me some of them things that I used to eat with beans all the time that I liked so well, and Kaylee don't know how to make them. His wife can cook everything. He's like, Kaylee don't know how to make them. And I told her it was so good, and you would give her the recipe. And I was like, hoe cakes? Fritters? Hoe cakes. It is literally flour, salt, and water, or milk if you rather use milk. It is like the last of the last that you have, and you need some edible bread, you know. And my kids, I would make soda bread. I'm sorry, soda bread. I call it soda bread. I would make soda bread, and the kids would be like, "Oh, that's so good. How long did that take us?" I was like, "It took 30 minutes." So I picked up, you know, a lot of the quick, you know, I can Irish and Cherokee cook. It just doesn't always match up that well. But he was trying to explain this lovely bread, you know, that was crispy on the outside and so tender on the inside, and it soaked up the bean juice, and I was like, it's a hoe cake. It's a fritter. It's a hoe cake. And then I looked at her and she's like, well, what's the recipe? And I was like, flour, salt, and water and milk till it gets good and sticky. And then you slap it in the oil pan. Little, you know, about the size of a small pancake. And it raises. And they're nice and thick. And, now, my family is terribly famous for their apple stack cakes. Guess who never learned how to make one? I tried a few times. It was a leaning tower pizza, and I looked at my mother and I said, give up. I said, I can hook the hydraulics up on a tractor. I don't need to know how to make an apple stack cake. And I left that one alone. It's like, not even gonna. I like 7-layer salad, pea salad. I like stuff like that. But yeah, my kids remember the strangest things, because like when we would go camping, I would make them hoe cakes on the hoe in the fire, and I would tell them that it came from the Irish and black slaves that were on the plantations. That's all they had to eat, and when they got in from the fields in the evenings, they would make their dinner on their hoes in the fire. And so I've made hoe cakes on hoes before, and it's always good for kids to, history lesson, and my mother can make the most beautiful apple stack cakes. I cannot do, no. Not at all. I can make a peach cobbler to die for. My peach cobblers, if I make one, I have to make 3, because as soon as I make one, and my friends find out that David ate a peach cobbler, I have friends that go, where was mine? So if I make one for Dave, I have to make 3, and they will be picked up promptly. So every time I make one, I make 3. So, yeah. Peach cobbler days are heavy cooking days for me, because I do it the old way, where you heat everything up, you heat the butter, and then you make the filling separate in a saucepan on top, and you get it nice and hot, and then you pour your batter in on top of your hot butter in a cast iron. Please use cast iron if you have it, it's better. And then you spoon your innards, your fruit mixture, glop it in, so you have a good ratio of bread to fruit and juice and stuff. And so I make it the old way, and so my house gets really hot really quick when I make cobblers, because 400 degrees and 40, you know, because I'm making 3 at a time normally, so it's like at least 45 minutes to an hour and 15 because I make them deep dish. And I will have to crack windows in the dead of winter when I make cobblers because it gets hot in my house. But peach cobblers are what I do the best. That's what I do the best. And apparently hoe cakes. Who knew that? The one thing my 23, almost 24-year-old child would remember and ask for would be a hoe cake. I'm telling you, we've got a lot of Amish in this area, and let me tell you what. They look at me and they think I'm crazy, but then when we start talking, they're like, we really like you. We're very similar people. And I'm like, yeah, no, I've just got a lot of ink. And they're like, yeah, you just got a lot of ink. Now, if I left my husband alone in Amish country, somebody would probably try to marry him because sometimes he looks and acts just like him. I'm not lying. Like, when we got married, he started building outbuildings, and he got to the 4th outbuilding, and I said, listen, if you build one more, I'm going to call you Mr. Yoder. So he stopped building the outbuildings. But he looks very Amish. My husband looks very Amish. But, I mean, he's good hearty stock, so I can't complain. I just have a few pieces of cast iron. I wanted my grandma's cast iron, but my aunts got it, and I can't. It went to them first. It should have, so I can't complain. But I've got a few pieces I use, and then I've got some old ceramic. It's the knockoff Pyrex, the bake. What is it? Yeah, I use it. Oh gosh, we have 3 settlements here. We have a big one in Muddy Pond. We have another one that is about 4 miles down the road beyond Allert. And we have a Mennonite one that is over in the Banner Roslyn area. We have quite the Amish Mennonite presence in the area. And I went to the leather shop with my husband the last time, and we separated because I was looking at the hides because I wanted a goat hide. Don't ask me why, I just wanted a goat hide. And he was looking for leather straps for his fur art. And I noticed in about 2 seconds, 2 little maidens walk in and he follow him down the aisle. Because he's a fine, strapping, sturdy man, you know, and he looks Amish. And I round the corner and I'm like, hey honey, can I have this? He's like, how much is it? I was like, oh, it's you know, it's just like $45. It's just like, I was like, it can be my anniversary present. He's like, I don't want to spend that much on your anniversary present. I was like, 18 years, and you won't even spend $45. Those little girls were like, whoop, and they went for another day. I think they thought that they had met somebody they weren't akin to that they could call dibs on, and then when I showed up, they were like, they don't match at all. What happened there? Because my husband he really does look Amish. Very quiet. Looks like Grizzly Adams. Very strong, silent. Normally has an axe in his hand. And then here I pop along normally with the Death Hawk, red hair, tattoo, 30-something hours of tattoos. And people go, how'd y'all meet? And, long story. I had a hole in my radiator and he fixed it, and that's how we met. And best man I ever met, and I knew it immediately. And I nabbed him up. Okay, I'm going to say we don't have a cafeteria-like place, but they do have a restaurant that sells a few of the stuff. But I laugh at it, and I can't stop and buy stuff there because they named it the Dutch Oven. I can't. I can't buy anything that's sweet from the Dutch Oven because it's like, is it going to taste like a fart? I mean, I've cooked in Dutch ovens before, but to name your restaurant the Dutch Oven, it's just a leap of faith right there. You know something? I caught his eye. Yeah, I did. The first time he said he loved me, I was elbow deep in a hog that kept spinning on the turnstile where we had it hanging up to be skinned. And I was trying to eat a cheeseburger. I just washed my hands. I was trying to eat a cheeseburger real quick because we had 14 to clean and roll into the freezer that day. And my brother said, big old fat thing won't stop swinging. He's going to break the chain. I said, cut a hole in the ribs. And he cut me a hole in the ribs. And I stuck my hand in there and held on to the ribs of this big 400+ pound wild hog while he finished skinning it and then ate my cheeseburger with the other hand. And my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, then looked at me and he goes, I think I love you. And I was like, okay, nice, no, throw this away. And I went back to work. So, he didn't like me for a long time because I would outshoot him. And now that I don't shoot as much, you know, he's got his man card back. But as we all know, when he brings new things home and I shoot them, I still outshoot him. I just don't outshoot him as much. I'm a dead shot. I'm a crack shot. But, you know, my parents had me in gun classes when I was in 3rd grade. I was like marksman first class when I was in 3rd grade, so. Hey, you want to know something? I'm a big girl. And I go somewhere, I will get more attention than the skinny girls. And I will turn around and look at people and be like, shoo, go away. Shoo, go away. But if I have my husband with me, nobody bothers me. So, but he doesn't like to go to concerts, and I like to go to concerts. And so I will take my other friend, who is just as rough as I am, and we will go to concerts together. And so we go anywhere together. I guess people, I don't think we're a lesbian couple, and they leave us alone. So it's great. I don't care what they think as long as they leave me alone. But it could be also because we went to see LP. We went to see LP two years in a row. Great concert. Lady can sing. I mean, she can sing anything. I'd listen to her sing the phone book. The woman can sing. Then we went to see Home Free. We went to see, frig, I've got everything hanging on the wall. The guy that sounds like Freddie Mercury. Why am I drawing a blank? I have his signature. I have his autograph. Like we went to a lot of stuff together there when I was my last couple healthy years. So, and but yeah, every time we go to an LP concert, nobody would bother us. But I guess it's because they thought we were a couple. So hey, whatever. They left us alone, so I was fine. I would look around and be like, because there would be like maybe 2 minutes the whole concert, and I'd look around and I would be like, wow, and then I would giggle to myself and I'd be like, because I profile just like a big lesbian. So I pride myself in saying, hey, I can cross barriers and I'm cute either way. I got no problem with it. Matter of fact, the first time I found LP, I thought it was a little Italian man. And I was showing my husband the video. I said, look at that cute little Italian man. I was like, look at that cute little Italian man. And my husband goes, I think that's a woman. I said, look at that cute little Italian woman. So, oh yeah, I don't care. I'm just kind of like, okay, it's fine. Didn't bother me at all. Of course, I'm a big Freddie Mercury fan, so I like personalities and I like people, and you know, I don't go with you to your bedroom, so I don't give a flying fart what you do there. I just, who you are in public and how you treat me in public, we're fine. If we get along, that's great. And that's how I go through life. But you really should check out LP. Laura Pergolizzi, the woman can sing. I mean, if you listen to just one song, listen to, hang on, let me think. Oh my gosh, she has so many. Muddy Water, Lost on You, oh my gosh, Tightrope. She has so many. Freddie Mercury can sing anything. I've got the whole Freddie collection. I've got a Queen collection that would rival. I need to get my craft room clean so I can show you my Freddie collection. I haven't watched the Britney Spears things yet, but I want to. I'm going to. Hey, I thought it was a little Italian man, and then it was like, no, that's a woman. And I was, oh, look at that cute little Italian woman. She was still just as adorable. Didn't bother me a bit. My husband ran over a curb one time because the Mayfield woman parked next to him, and she was rather buxom. and he was trying to park next to her, and he pulled in and looked at her and forgot where the concrete embankment was, and I got out and died laughing, and I was like, my husband thinks you're so pretty that he forgot where the concrete was. And I was like, you're that pretty. I have no problem. Oh wow, you did a lot of work and a lot of big TV. That's how you need to make a channel and share some stories. You caught it and it was fun. I just like to make yous laugh. I am crazy. If I feel good, I'm crazier, and I'm feeling halfway decent today. But I am fixing to take a break. I'm going to check in with Sharon, who is on Australia time, see if she's wanting to talk about the Dr. Phil thing. Depending on how I feel, I may jump in and talk with her for a moment or two. So that's Down Under Crime Talks. Everybody go and subscribe to the Country Christian Priscilla's channel. She does some interesting stuff. You'll get to see the backwoods of Virginia. And, you know, we're just going to watch this and see where it goes. I want to see the feedback, the blowback of what people start to notice. Because I'm going to have to watch this several more times and take notes for specific body behavior, body cues and stuff like that. But this was just how, you know, my thoughts on them right after watching it. So you got the first brain vomit session. Yeah, if anybody here starts a channel, tell me, let me know, and I'll become subscribed to you, because we all need to support each other. YouTube should be a positive place where we should all be able to share our lives without having to follow a clique or suck the tit of an underlord. I'm sorry. I just, you know, these people that think they own the internet and they think they own YouTube, it just pisses me off. It just pisses me off. So, boy, that is getting bright. The sun is setting. That is getting very hot. I am going to make me a little bit of dinner, check on Sharon, and supposed to get Kazi back tomorrow or Sunday. Life is slowly returning to normal. I still can't drive. So expect normal videos, and start looking for my normal educational or funny videos that stay up that are, you know, 5 to 15 minutes long. They'll start coming back now that I'm feeling better. So we'll start getting more content that is less live interaction and stuff that y'all can actually watch, rewatch, and have full conversations on. And somebody has requested that I start going back and deleting the older lives because they don't want everybody in Jesus to know what they said way back in the day. So everybody give me an idea of what you think about that, and we'll make that decision as well. But that's about all I have for today. So if you get to check later, go look for Down Under Crime Talks and go support Sharon. So this was a pretty good little get together. I enjoyed it. I always enjoy the time that I spend with Jens and I. Thank you. Your time is precious, and I appreciate it when you spend it with me. And better content, regular content on its way back now that I'm feeling better, and less lives. We'll still do the lives because I know Jens like to irritate me and see what I say. And Cody, if I ever get a Cody, I'm gonna name him Cody. It's funny. But I really like to do the educational videos or the funny videos, and I like to leave those so that we can have more conversations down underneath them. So it's on its way back. But I'm still here. Everybody knows how to email me. You know how to get in touch with me. And as soon as I get the Etsy store up and loaded, I will drop a link in a community post so that if you're just absolutely dying to have something handmade by me and my husband, you can go and order it, and they will be very affordable because we poor people, we know everybody else poor, you know, we know everybody else poor too. So we ain't gonna, we're not trying to flex your last penny out of you. We just, if you want something pretty, we'll put a good price on it. If you want it, we'll get it to you. Lisa here is supposed to get a tree carving, and I've tried to reach out to her a couple times and I can't find her. She was one of the first people, and I'm worried about her because she was not doing well. So if anybody knows Lisa, the Lisa that was the tree, she loved trees, and I said I want to get one of my son's trees to you. If anybody knows her, please reach out to her and tell her to check in with me. because I need to be sending her something. Yeah, we have a good chat group. I'm going to be doing some Christmas ornaments later for Etsy, so I'm going to be getting on the ball in the next week to get those up so they can get shipped. And they're probably going to be like wood rounds, little wood rounds, or they're going to be little handmade little tiny gnomes with the little noses and the beards. I guess they're gnomes. I guess they're gnomes. But I make little stuff like that. And if my mother has made any of those little cathedral window squares, I may swap some and turn those into ornaments. Just depends on what I can steal from my mother. We'll see what she has. But it's going to be slowly getting loaded now that I feel better, because my husband works way too much to worry about it, so it's got to be me that does it. So, oh, I put up a lot of trees too, but I didn't get to put up like 2 last year. But my daughter's coming in for Thanksgiving. She says she's decorating my entire house, so I'm gonna let her go for it. I'll show you in pictures. We have a tiny house, but it's cute. It looks like one of those little candle cottage stores when she gets done with it, which is fine. I'll let her decorate it. That's fine with me. Okay, when I get everything loaded to Etsy, I will do a community post, and until then, go support Sharon at Down Under Crime Talks, and go support Priscilla at Country Christian. And can you send her here when she's done? She'd probably fit in a box. She's only about 110 pounds. I'll show you some of our cheap and ingenious cheap decorating skills. We get it done for cheap. And I'm also fixing to make new curtains, and I'm going to show you how to make new curtains for about $11 that they want you to pay $45 for. So when I make my curtains, I'm going to show y'all how to do this, because I looked at the curtains and I was like, I'm not giving you $45. It's $43.95. I was like, I'm not giving you that for that. And I thought, heck, I'll just make it. So that'll be a project video I'll be doing. I just got to get to the Walmart. I got to drive. So, okay, I'm going to go eat. I'm going to go rest. Check on Sharon Down Under Crime Talks. Go support Priscilla at Country Christian. And if you see another good video on the Dr. Phil review, let me know, because I want to watch and see if everybody's seeing what I'm seeing. Appreciate your time. Love you all. I'll be seeing you much more often now that I'm feeling better. Y'all have an absolutely lovely weekend. And if I do anything this weekend, I'll try to do a funny for you. Mama Liz, out.